Shout out to Bronze Fury, managed by Esther Aluko, who is leading the betting expert Nigeria FPL group after game week 1. She's actually 1,374 in the world and had a total of 104 points after game week 1. That's very impressive.
That's massive.
Massive, actually. And on that note, to our viewers out there, welcome to the Betting Expert Nigeria FPL show, where we give you all the FPL insights and give you all the talking points ahead of the next game week. So yes, Zini, thanks for joining me on set once again. It's good to have you back. Were you able to complete the transfer?
Yes, I was able to do that, but we're still in the pipeline for bigger deals.
You can't reveal all the info now. It's still exclusive.
It's not yet. Here we go.
Not yet we go.
Yeah.
All right. So now it's time for us to move on. Yeah, we move. So moving on, the FPL is looking action-packed already. You know, we've seen lots of action in game week 1. She had 104 points. Esther Aluko. Let's just have a quick look at what our team looked like.
Yes.
In goal, she had David Raya. I have David Raya as well. And you know, looking at our team, I don't want to be too certain, but she looks like an Arsenal fan. She looks like an Arsenal fan.
No, but normally you have an Arsenal.
She has 3 Arsenal players. These are the 3 Arsenal players that I would have as well. So she looks like an Arsenal fan.
I have 3.
You're a fake fan. We don't know which club you support. But yeah, she has Raya in goal. She has Munoz as one of her centre backs, Pedro Porro, Alexander Arnold. Then in midfield, she has Musala, who was a captain, Diogo Jota, Semenyo, Bukayo Saka, and up front she has Muniz of Fulham, Havertz again, Arsenal, and Isak of Newcastle. Every single one of our players gave her above 5 points, except Muniz up front. Like, brilliant selection, yeah, to be fair. And I'm actually angry because I should have selected Havertz. I kept on shouting. I said the player you must have in your team is Havertz, and I did not follow my own advice.
That's to tell you that sometimes people just don't follow what they tell. But I say, mind the kind of advice.
No.
But that your advice was a good one, because I also had Havertz. I had to check his goal returns, and which worked perfectly. One good thing she did was to still stick with Salah, because we know that for every they had Salah, but giving Salah the captain and band. You know that every Premier League opening game. He has the highest number of goals now. And then you look at she also being very good to having Havertz. Apart from Havertz, the midfield cheap players, but they gave good returns as well. For Semenyo, I think it's like 5.5. It's not a bold one from her own side. Diogo Jota coming to the party, and I feel the biggest has to be her defenders, which has to be Pedro Porro and Alexander.
Everybody, to be fair.
I don't have Pedro Porro.
Me too, I don't have Pedro Porro, to be fair, but like, he's a popular option. Trent is also a popular option as well. But like, credit to her 104 points. I mean, she has set the pace, and I'm not far.
So what was your number?
75 points. I'm not far.
And I had 71.
71.
Yeah.
I'm coming for it though. By game week 5, I should be somewhere around the top 10.
That's the target. I can't be in that position I am.
But anyways, away from Esther Aluko and an impressive start to the FPL season, let's move on to what we can look forward to this weekend. And one of the key fixtures this weekend, you know, from an FPL perspective, is Villa taking on Arsenal. You know, in previous seasons, Villa versus Arsenal
should be a stroll in the park for Arsenal.
Yeah, just a normal game that we just come and watch and go. But now Villa Arsenal is a game that we are looking at as something that has title implications. You know, last season Villa did the double against Arsenal home and away. They beat us and they literally ruined our title aspirations. So on that note, there's a bit of revenge feeling, going into this game. But from an FPL perspective, what will you be looking out for? Because my own understanding of this game is that Arsenal will be a little cautious. Arsenal will give them some certain bit of respect, knowing what they did last season and knowing that Villa is a side that can punish you. Even last season, the second leg, we did most of the playing, they did the scoring.
Yes.
Villa can do that as well again. So I think Arsenal will be very cautious, so we might not see that explosive fixture that people are looking out for. But from an FPL perspective, what are you expecting?
From an FPL perspective, I'm looking at these two teams and I'm saying that there are chances for any of the players you want to pick. Firstly, from those players that sort of brightened the game last season, which you talk about, what Keynes talk about. Havertz was not in the best of form in those games, but if you look at Havertz this time, even with the big role he's been given as the false 9, it tells you that there are chances for Havertz to get to, and also not forgetting Bukayo Saka. I think this time it's going to be more of the managers also trying to gain that dominance. It might not, I don't think it will be a flat game. Yeah. I think these teams will have to take it by the just take the bull by its horn, because you look at especially for the both managers.
Yeah.
You look at Arteta and Unai Emery. In the last 5 meetings, Unai Emery has had the better one ahead of Arteta.
Yeah.
And of recent, taking 6 points out of Arsenal was a big deal. And I think the players will, even City did not do that. And the players want to show something to the teams. Like, if you could do it last time, you can do it again this time. But for Arsenal, I think for Mikel Arteta, he'll have to stick with the game plan he had with the players he had against Wolverhampton Wanderers, because these are the key players. I know Merino is coming, and maybe most of the fans are like, yes, he has come.
Saturday might be too soon.
Yeah, I think it's too soon. But my only fear is playing Zinchenko, because that was really the weak link that you had. So anyone that has Zinchenko, FPL, please. I think you should sort of keep him back.
But fair enough, yeah. You mentioned Watkins and you mentioned Albert as two key players we should be looking out for. So to our viewers out there, one thing to note is that from an FPL perspective, Watkins is surprisingly one of the 3 most transferred out players ahead of game week 2.
Yeah.
Watkins, Trippier, and Ivan Toney. So the reason why do you think people are removing Watkins is obviously because
because they are not sure that he will replicate that. But these are things that happen.
No, it's because King Saliba is in town.
No, apart from King Saliba, Saliba was in town. Let's not forget in the last time, and you still have David Raya still in goal. But then this period, I think these things happen because of when you don't get a good game week 1. Sometimes there is this emotional sentiment that comes with it. Let me quickly take this player and come in, and maybe you want to even to go for. You look at the strikers that sort of shone brightly last time. Maybe you also want to check it. Maybe I think most time it has to be more of Kai Havertz. Most people would have brought in Havertz to the range.
Yeah,
so I think they might also regret it. Most times when a lot of people take off a player from their team, that is the week that player shines.
Well, last week rather, I said start Kai Havertz at all costs. He gave a goal and an assist. And this time I'm going to say the same thing.
Start him.
You need to start Kai Havertz again. Now, last season when we lost to Villa twice, he played as an LCM.
Yes.
Now he's playing centrally. We have more than enough midfielders. I don't see any reason why Arteta should play around and take Havertz back to LCM. He's excelling as a target man, as a number 9. And I think he will play there once again. But away from Villa and Arsenal and what Kai Havertz will do or not do, let's go to Brighton versus Manchester United. See, for me, I see like, look, I'm literally going to put Manchester United on my FPL blacklist from now till October. Till the next international break. They're actually on my blacklist.
You are even talking about from now to October. I don't think I'll have a United player on my FPL.
No. To be fair, when we go into our differentials later on in the show, I have some Manchester United names that will come up. But from an FPL perspective, why Brighton versus Manchester United is always a tricky fixture is because you never know what to get between these two sides. In the last 6 times they've met, Brighton have won 4 times. One of the times United won was on penalties, and United have won just once. That was 3-1 last season. So
no, 2-0, yeah.
Brighton won the first one 3-1.
Yeah.
So like Brighton have the mental strength to believe that they can go on and get a result, especially after a convincing 3-0 win over Everton.
Yes.
Start the season. So you really don't know what to get from this game. So personally, if I'm even going to pick players, I would go with Mitoma.
Yeah, because he even scored. He also scored in game week match day 1. He was able to score.
He has enjoyed himself against United in the past.
He knows.
Now they don't even have the 1v1 merchant that could lock down wingers. Wan-Bissaka is not a West Ham player.
But Mazraoui also wasn't bad. On his debut. He had up to 8 points or 9.
Only Fulham.
No, it was only Fulham. You can also say the same thing about for the Brighton and Hove Albion side, because
it was only Everton.
Yes, Everton are a good side. And if you look at the way they were able to treat, I think that was one of the shocking match they won for me, because I felt Everton would have given it a push because they even had a good first half, but then Brighton were able to sort of keep themselves composed, and we saw how they went on to win it. So against United, I feel it's one game that is quite tricky if you have a United player in your FPL, because it's now United know how to concede. Yes, they did not concede against Fulham, but we saw the chances that the Fulham side also.
No, just to counter you on a bit before we close on Manchester United. You said United they know how to concede, but for all the bad press about Manchester United's defense last season, only 4 sides conceded less goals than United. That's Arsenal with the best defense, 29 goals. Then we have City 34 goals, Liverpool 41, and Everton 50. than United. Only 4 sides had better defensive records than United.
Yeah.
For all the bad press about their defense.
Apart from the
and even from an FPL perspective, one of the managers that was interviewed, I can't remember his name on Sky Sports. It was in the top 1,000 managers at the end of the season. And they asked him what was one weird strategy he used all through the season. He said, I left Onana in goal. And what did that do to him? Because Manchester United were always facing lots of shots. Onana was making saves. And those saves were giving him extra points when United get clean sheets. And now with the new system, there will be bonus points for such kind of saves.
Yeah, but if you look at it too, in the match week one, Onana had I think he had 6 points in total, and it's not like he did not face shots. But that was the first game, and they almost went that game without nothing. And I feel for them, you talked about them not conceding. Don't forget that other teams that you did not mention also had goal difference. United did not have a goal difference.
No, I'm just saying. I'm talking about their defense. Not them.
So
scoring.
Both of them will have to complement each other.
Course,
I'm just saying that I'm not going to have a United player. It depends.
I'm not having them till October.
I'm not going to have them. They're sort of inconsistent. It's like having a friend of mine had Bruno Fernandes. And she kept shouting because
Fernandes, you don't know what to get with him.
Crazy.
Saw Garnacho too, he missed the sitter.
And one day Bruno would just score a hat trick, and you're like, okay, where does it come from?
Anyways, away from Manchester United, Crystal Palace West Ham is another tricky tie. We can't even say.
Just have a brace, Chiese. That's all I can tell you.
I don't know if I would have him, to be fair, because
I have him. I think this.
I was actually angry at his goal last week. Controversially denied, because I think that was a clear goal.
It was clear. The referee made the mistake of blowing the whistle.
It sort of annoyed plenty FPL players that had him.
I was angry.
That was easy 7.
I would have been more than you now.
That was easy if I had Kayaba. If wishes were else's. So that was easy 7 to 8 points. But let's move away from Palace West Ham and let's go to a side that potentially they have players.
They have more than enough.
More than 500 points if the right players to pick. Let's talk about Chelsea. Let's talk about potential from Chelsea in FPL. Now I saw on the FPL page where they have 5 different players, midfielders that actually cost 6.5 million. Noni Madueke, Mikhailo Modric, Nkunku, Pedro Neto, and Joao Felix, who just joined from Atletico Madrid on a permanent deal. All of these 5 players all cost 6.5 million. It's not so cheap, but it's not so expensive either. Out of these 5 players, who would you make your pick on?
If you look at these players, I think firstly I'd rather go for Nkunku. But if you say, because some fans will talk about Joao Felix, how he comes in and what he did for Chelsea. But let's not forget that when he joined Chelsea last season, out of 20 appearances for Chelsea, he scored only 4 goals and no assists. And that's like you're averaging 0.2 goals per game. So it's not a good number. And you look at how Chelsea looks, it's still more of the players that know how to thrive still getting the goals. We saw that in the Conference League qualifiers where Nkunku was able to score in the for a penalty. And then so I think I'd rather go for Nkunku than Joao Felix.
It's also a good option.
Because Joao Felix might have all the trick and all the balls around, but you have to go for someone that is trusted. I'd rather go for Nkunku than going for Joao Felix. But then it depends on what you
that's a good point. Also with the fact that when Palmer is not on the pitch, Nkunku will be the one
he usually will step up.
To take the penalty. So that makes sense. And if you want to think long term, Chelsea's next 6 fixtures look like this: Wolves, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, and Nottingham Forest. On paper, that looks very favorable. So it looks like you should get 1 or 2 Chelsea players in your team. But the problem with Chelsea again is that you don't know which Chelsea players would start. You don't even know who is making the squad.
No, but Maresca has told us that it's 21 players that
he said 15 players are training separately. We don't know those.
He doesn't know them. He doesn't see them. He just moves.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that statement. That's a lie.
Where are they training?
He's trying to save his face anyways. But away from Chelsea, now let's throw it out open. From all the summer transfers you've seen in the Premier League so far, which one makes sense for you from an FPL angle?
Which one makes sense for me?
There's Dominic Solanke from Bournemouth to Spurs. We've seen Somerville, West Ham. We've seen Caliafori joining us now as well. We've seen different signings.
If I'm looking at anyone that makes sense for me, judging from matchday 1, I think I'll go for Mazraoui. Having 9 points, your first game in FPL and in the Premier League, and you were able to keep it that clean. I think Mazraoui for me stood out for matchday 1. That I don't have him yet, but I don't want to have him either. But I think that's one that stands out for me.
All right. So for me, this summer transfer that looks good from an FPL angle is a close call for me between Pedro Neto and Dominic Solanke. I will have gone with Pedro Neto, but the fact that he's coming into a transition side, like where Chelsea are not really stable at the moment. They are under a new manager who is trying to, impose his own ideas and whatever. If Pedro Neto was joining an Arsenal side, for instance, or a Liverpool, it would have been my pick. But looking at everything, I think Dominic Solanke to Spurs looks like. I mean, Spurs were they were like in need of a proper 9. Richarlison was not just that guy because of inconsistency issues, but at Bournemouth, Solanke was able to do 19 goals. And I think even for a side like playing in a side like Tottenham, he should be able to do 20 plus goals. 65 million, one of the most expensive transfers in the Premier League summer window so far. And I think he's going to deliver FPL managers a lot of points. A lot of points.
Okay,
I have him now. And I'm going to give him one more week to perform. Wait, what are Spurs playing? Depends on who they are playing with. Can you tell me who they are playing?
Quickly, I'm just going to get that for you.
I literally need to know if he's going
Spurs will be facing Everton.
I'm leaving him. I'm leaving Solanke there. It looks good. It looks good for me. Anyways, now let's move away from all the quote big boys of the FPL and let's go to those names that many people usually don't talk about, but they have the ability to give you good enough points as any of these top players, like probably from 5.5 or 5 million and under. So are there any of these players that everyone is not talking about them, maybe because of their price or whatever?
Let's start with one.
Can give you points.
Jamie Vardy.
I'm surprised to see. I'm surprised that he's 5.5. And here's a start
How did I see that?
Here's a start for all our subscribers out there. Jamie Vardy has now moved into the all-time forward points for FPL forward. He's now number 5. He's now number 4 actually. Only Wayne Rooney, Harry Kane, Jermaine Defoe, and Sergio Aguero have recorded more points than Jamie Vardy in FPL history. That's a very elusive history.
How did we forget that? So Jamie Vardy,
5.5 million. I think it's because
just coming from the championship, so
side.
People are not so sure how Leicester would be. But if he continues like that, his price is definitely going to go up.
Yeah,
so
and
to make
better to have him now. Exactly, before
try and get
rise.
Another of the player for me has to be Joe Vertman of Brighton. For every season, he always turns up. I know they had a poor end of last season, but we've seen him now doing that again. In the first match they won, he gave
Brighton,
8 points.
The first 10 games,
they're always very strong. So I think you should just look at that first game. And then Amandro Onana for Aston Villa, another good point. He's 5 million, so something that you can get cheap. Especially when you have a Haaland, you can try to see if you can get someone else that can give you another goal. And Chris Wood is 6 million, but then I know it's not. People might say it's kind of high, but I think it's a cheap budget of Nottingham Forest for a forward. Because most times, even last season, he scored most of the goals for the side, and he's a regular starter. So I think people should also look into that.
He should have scored. I think
the anger against him against City. How many people were able to do so much against City?
Let's forget that question.
No, but you have to look at it now. And I know just like what that Esther Aloko had, like Munoz, the defense. I think it's another cheap budget too for 4 million.
A lot of people actually had him.
Yeah, I think another cheap one. Especially looking at your bench, because soon
he has players like Traore, Smith-Rowe, creating for him. So
because you could look at that, because very soon you might be needing to use your bench boost. So you have to have somebody that's consistent, even if their price are not much. Especially maybe you look at those Southampton players.
And Fulham, their next 2 games, they are also taking on their fellow just promoted side, Leicester and Ipswich. So that could be something to consider as well.
Yeah, and one big take I think people need to look at, like I said earlier, look at Liverpool team. Try and get 1 or 2 of their players, because the next.
Everybody has Salah.
No, you have Salah, but you could have.
Who does not?
You could also think of Jota, because.
I thought you wanted to say Nunes.
Even if I close my eyes, I cannot mistakenly type on Nunes. No, that's going to be a waste of my FPL slots. So sadly to say so, because no, it's not it. Well, I think those are things that work out. We're just looking for how much day 2 would be, and I hope I can be the one to lead in this our group, because.
Hope you can be when you've not passed me yet.
You 4 points.
You've not passed me yet.
It's 4 points. It's because you captain Salah. If I captain Salah and they did not cancel
If wishes were
Aces.
horses, so
Don't worry.
for me, I think I share some
Yeah.
of the same, players. Like you Vardy to top the list of my differential. Like when I saw, when I wanted to select my forward, I thought it was a mistake. Vardy 5.5. That was too shocking. But then I
And that's why you
realized
did not take him.
I realized no, not that. I just realized that it's because he's just coming with a newly promoted side. Even though he has the
But
pedigree,
he has always. We just did not take it.
you still have to give him the fact that he's coming with a newly promoted
Yeah.
side. But Welbeck, surprisingly, is also 5 million as well. And
Yes,
Welbeck is also
Danny
5 million.
Welbeck.
And he looks like he's going to
Welbeck
score a
gave
lot.
12 points.
Yeah, he gave 12 points. I think he's going to enjoy himself. He's going to enjoy himself this time around. He's going to score at least in the next 5 to 6 games. I
Yeah.
can see Welbeck giving a lot of points. Then there's Sander Berge of Fulham too. They just signed him. He's only 5 million. And of course, the only Manchester United fan that can make my differential, like you said, is Mazuri. I think he's going to excel on that right flank. He's going to. He looks like a different guy that can also whip in crosses as well. He's solid on his own, but then he might be affected by his team as a whole. They might let him down on some occasions.
Because if United crumble,
Exactly,
the entire team
it will affect
crumbles.
him. But then on occasions where United will do well, I think he's going to be a very good value. There's also Van de Ven. He's going to be a starter for Spurs. He's going to be a mainstay in their defense, and it's just 4.5 million. And now Pedro Porro is looking like he might not play for game week 2 because he's injured. We don't have that update yet as at the time of recording this.
But you just have to be sure.
Then this guy is somebody that I've pushed for him to be benched, but things might change in the future. Currently, it doesn't suit Chelsea's system at the moment, Enzo Fernandez. But he's only 5 million. And is this surprising to you?
It's surprising to me.
Enzo Fernandez.
Most time, I think when he first joined FPL, that wasn't his price. I think he dropped this time.
Yeah, he dropped because of his
because of the numbers and all.
So I still think when Chelsea pick up Enzo Fernandez might later end up being good value. There's Smith Rowe at 5.5 million as well. And this one is not 5.5 million, it's 6 million, but I think it could be good value because now it might be their set piece taker, Paqueta as well, for West Ham. And I think it's someone that people should. I think he scored on the opening day. Paqueta scored on the opening day. He scored. And it could be good value, in the coming weeks as well. So for me, those are my differential picks, and fans and managers could, pick something from those players as well.
Yeah, that's it. But anyway, we're looking towards a fruitful match week 2. But then we still have to give kudos to Bruce Fury, that's Esther Aluku, for all you've done. And I'm just saying that the competition is game week 1. Yeah, so the competition is now hot. The competition is now hot because a lot of people have seen your points. So just know that if you did 1, you have to do 2 this time to make sure that you still stay in line. But then we're showing if you have not joined our betting expert Telegram community, make sure you do that so that be part of the community and see how things are going. You still have a chance of joining the group. Don't forget, you still have a chance of joining our FPL group as well, so that you can still have a chance to win during the month. Even if you don't win the 400k every month, you have a chance of winning a jersey. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow us on our different social media handles so that you have everything Betting Expert comes to give you. Myself, Duchess of Sports, and Kolade, we are saying catch you after match week 2.